So you may be a viewer of Kaya Simon's life. I have caught her show a few times. I can't say that I've been a regular watcher, but I'm not a regular watcher of too many channels as it is. I just don't have time for that, unfortunately. So I have caught it from time to time. You know, she does have some pretty loyal fans who really enjoy her style. But I guess, a video came out the other day that was exposing the man who she's in a relationship with. So a video came out basically stating that the man that she's with, Mr. Simon, is he has been convicted of several crimes involving pandering and prostitution of a minor. Okay, so Mr. Simon had been charged in 2005 with several crimes, felonies and one misdemeanor, 8 felonies and 1 gross misdemeanor. He did plead guilty. So I don't know if he got a plea deal that he agreed to, or I'm assuming. He was sentenced to 10 years total, and he got out in 5 years. This was in the state of Nevada. So we can look at each charge. Okay, so I first want to just say that there is an absolute trigger warning for this video. If you have any sensitivities to SA involving children, I mean, who doesn't, right? But if it is going to be particularly triggering to you, then I would just skip this video altogether. I plan to just look at it from a legal perspective. Now, I do want to, if you are new to my channel, by the way, welcome. I'm an American woman. I used to live in Egypt for a couple of years. After I returned to the States, I reverted to Islam. And mostly I cover Foodie Beauty because she has just been doing a complete disservice to the culture and to the religion. So I started this channel just to, try to counterbalance some of that. And I do keep tabs on what the rest of the community is doing. I don't often comment on everything because there are other channels who do that and they do a great job at it. I do have some experience with the court stuff and with some of the legal stuff. I am not an attorney by any stretch. I don't have a record myself. Some people say that they have, legal experience, meaning that they've been to jail, and that's not what I mean by it. All right. So first, we can go over the charges, and this is again, in the state of Nevada. The first one we have, first, I'd just like to define a minor child in the state of Nevada where these crimes took place, okay? So because each state has their own age of majority. A minor child in Nevada means a person who has not reached the age of majority as provided in Nevada revised statute, this one, 129.010, and has not been declared emancipated. So these crimes are against a minor child. So how does Nevada define a minor child? Age of majority is all persons of the age of 18 years who are under no legal disability, and anyone who's been declared emancipated from their parents for legal reasons. So anyone under the age of 18 is a minor in the state of Nevada. Mr. Simon is also charged with kidnapping first degree. In general, a person who willfully seizes, confines, inveigles, that's a legal term, I don't know, entices, decoys, abducts, conceals, kidnaps, or carries away a person by any means whatsoever with the intent to hold or detain for ransom, reward, or for the purpose of committing SA, extortion, or robbery upon or from the person, or for the purpose of killing the person or inflicting substantial bodily harm, or to exact from relatives, friends, and any other person any money or valuable thing for the return or disposition of the kidnapped person. So he was charged and convicted. He pled guilty to first-degree kidnapping. So kidnapping in the first degree, this is the penalty. A person convicted of kidnapping in the first degree is guilty of category A felony and shall be punished. Number one, where the kidnapped person suffers substantial bodily harm. So if they suffered bodily harm, they are going to receive the penalty of imprisonment in the state prison. And here we have these subsections. It could be for life without the possibility of parole, for life with the possibility of parole after 15 years have been served, definite term of 40 years with the eligibility of parole beginning when a minimum of 15 years has been served. If they didn't suffer bodily harm, they could be imprisoned still for life with possibility of parole, or for a definite term of 15 years with eligibility for parole beginning with when a minimum of 5 years has been served. So, and he did get out after 5 years. So that's the kidnapping charge. The next charge, he was charged with 2 counts of pandering a child. Now, I wasn't familiar with this term. Some of you were. So here's the definitions, the penalties, and any exception. A person is guilty of sex trafficking if the person induces, causes, recruits, harbors, transports, provides, obtains, or maintains a child to engage in prostitution or to enter any place within the state in which prostitution is practiced, encouraged, or allowed for the purpose of sexual conduct or prostitution. This can be in reckless disregard of the fact that threats, violence, force, intimidation, fraud, duress, or coercion will be used to cause the person to engage in prostitution or to enter any place within this state in which prostitution is practiced, encouraged, or allowed. It can be by threats, violence, force, intimidation, fraud, duress, coercion, or by abuse of any position of confidence or authority, or having legal charge, takes, places, harbors, induces, causes, compels, or procures a person to engage in prostitution or to enter any place within the state in which prostitution is practiced. Receives anything of value with the specific intent of facilitating a violation of this paragraph. So receiving compensation, the person who's being charged. Who is found guilty of sex trafficking? This is a child. If the child is less than 14 years of age when the offense is committed, is guilty of a category A felony and shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for life without the possibility of parole, with eligibility for parole beginning with when a minimum of 15 years has been served, and may be further punished by a fine of not more than $20,000. Now, these sentences are up to the judge's discretion. So this is what the lawmakers have said. It should be punishable by one of these, and depending on the case itself and what actually happened, the judge has discretion as to how to sentence the person. If the child is at least 14 years of age but less than 16 years of age when the offense is committed, they're guilty of a category A felony and shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for life without the possibility of parole, or with eligibility for parole beginning with when a minimum of 10 years has been served, and may be further punished by a fine of not more than $10,000. Now, he served 5 years. So this says this would apply if the child is at least 16 years of age, but less than 18 years of age. So either 16 or 17, when the offense is committed, guilty of a category A felony and shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for life without the possibility of parole, with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 5 years has been served, and may be further punished by a fine of not more than $10,000. A court shall not grant probation or to suspend the sentence of a person convicted of sex trafficking a child pursuant to subsection 2. So the court just can't say, oh, I'm going to use my discretion to waive the prison sentence and you can go off with probation, or we'll suspend the sentence. They can't do that. So this is stipulating that to the judge. This is important to note here. Number 4, consent of a victim of pandering or sex trafficking to an act of prostitution is not a defense to a prosecution for any of the acts prohibited by this section. So if this person is under the age of 18 and they say, yes, I want to do this, it doesn't matter. They don't have the age of legal majority to be able to say that. They're a minor child. Even if they volunteer, they take all efforts to, yes, I want to do this. That's not a defense. In a prosecution for sex trafficking, a child pursuant to subsection 2, this is important. So subsection 2 here is the child part, okay? So this is what it's referring to. In a prosecution for sex trafficking a child pursuant to subsection 2, it is not a defense that the defendant did not have knowledge of the victim's age, nor is reasonable mistake of age a valid defense to a prosecution conducted pursuant to subsection 2, which is trafficking of a child, pandering. So the minor can say that they want to do that they're willing to, that they want to. That's not a defense. A reasonable mistake of age, like, oh, I thought she was 18 or she looks 18, is not a defense. It's not a defense. So keep that in mind. It doesn't matter. The adult is responsible. Now, I don't know much about this type. Honestly, I don't know much about this type of subculture or way of life. I don't. But there are, I'm just thinking like a gentleman's club, right? That is pretty legit. Like they want to keep their liquor license. They make a good profit. They play good music. They have beautiful girls. Okay. When a girl goes to apply for a job there, they're going to check her ID. They're going to make sure it's not a fake ID. They want to keep their business on the up and up. As long as they're doing everything legal, like the last thing you want is to have a minor up on the stage removing clothing. So they will check the ID. Of course, that's not every club, but just as in this line of business, if you are doing this, you got to make sure that the women who are doing it are of age. So that's pandering. Okay, now statute 201.340, transporting prostitute, that has been repealed since his conviction was in 2005. That was repealed in 2013. 201.340. What he was charged with, this no longer exists as of 2013. So it's revised. So it may be part of a new statute. It may be covered under something, especially since trafficking is more widely known for exactly what it is now, it may be included under one of those. So transportation of a prostitute this statute no longer exists. He's also been charged with 2 counts of living from earnings of a prostitute. So that's this one up here. A person who knowingly accepts, receives, levies, or appropriates any money or other valuable thing without consideration from the proceeds of any prostitute is guilty of living from the earnings of a prostitute and shall be punished. If there was physical force or the immediate threat of physical force, that's category C, felony. Where no physical force or immediate threat of physical force is used, category D, felony. Any acceptance, receipt, levy, or appropriation of money or valuable thing upon any proceedings or trial for violation of this section is presumptive evidence of lack of consideration. Okay, so these are the different categories of felonies, and these are just hyperlinks. You can just click on the next thing to go. So it's got category A, felony, B, C. Now, for all of these, this was just a sentence of 10 years, and he ended up serving 5. Okay, the next one. Okay, he's also been charged with 1 count of gross misdemeanor child endangerment. So this is quite a lengthy statute. And it covers a lot of things, so I'm not going to go through this whole thing. Again, it'll be linked for you. The final charge is living with a prostitute. It's a felony. And it's now placing person in house of prostitution penalties. So a person who places another in the charge or custody of a third person with the intent that the other person engage in prostitution, or who compels the other person to reside with him or her, or with any third person for purposes of prostitution, or who compels another person to reside in a house of prostitution. Asks or receives any compensation, gratuity, or reward or promise thereof for or on account of placing in a house of prostitution or elsewhere a person for the purpose of causing that person to cohabit with someone who is not the person's spouse. So he pled guilty to all of those charges. In 1998, he was convicted of a few charges involving a vehicle. So she in the original video that outed all of this, I will absolutely link that below. Check the description for all of this stuff. She plays a clip, or the person plays a clip where Kaya is kind of talking about the different vehicles that they have. So he was charged in 1998 with conspiracy to commit grand larceny, conspiracy to sell a stolen vehicle, and grand larceny. So he was guilty of that. These were all disposed as guilty. I don't know if he pled guilty. So he was put on probation. He didn't serve jail time for that. He paid restitution. He had to do community service. He received credit for time served, and he had to pay an administrative fee. So he probably didn't have much of a record at that point in 1998. Okay, so he was convicted in 2005 of all of those charges we previously spoke about. He also had to submit a DNA sample to be put on record. So in February 2006, he filed an appeal. This was an appeal he pled guilty, but he wanted to appeal that. And when you do plead guilty, I think in most jurisdictions, the judge they do speak to you and ask you, like, are you doing this under duress? Have you been promised anything in return for pleading guilty? Like this decision will be final. Like, it basically can't be appealed. You're saying that you're guilty. A couple years later, you can't say I really wasn't. So I have the appeal. And this was the Supreme Court of the state of Nevada. So he appealed his own charges that he pled guilty to. And he filed it in February 2006, and the judgment wasn't made until January 2008. So it takes a while. Okay, so on January 9th, 2006, the district court convicted appellant, Mr. Simon, pursuant to a guilty plea of pandering a child. The district court sentenced the appellant to serve a term of 48 to 120 months in the Nevada State Prison, so 4 to 10 years. This court affirmed appellant's conviction and sentence on appeal. So he had claimed that the district court improperly interjected itself into the plea negotiations. This is why the judge really talks to you when you do submit a guilty plea, to really make sure. Specifically, the district court judge erred in mentioning that her daughter, who was in the courtroom during the sentencing hearing, was a similar age to the victim in the instant case. Okay. I mean, judges get to be, judges get to be judges, generally speaking, because they're excellent attorneys and they have a good reputation in the community, and they do a lot of, of course, there are going to be some bad judges. I'm never going to say anything's all black or all white. There are absolutely corrupt judges, but in general, Judges can keep an impartial view. So if her daughter is in the courtroom, his or her daughter is in the courtroom, it doesn't necessarily mean that that influenced her sentencing. This court rejected a similar claim of error regarding this comment on direct appeal. The doctrine of the law of the case prevents further litigation of this claim. Yeah. You can't come back and say, I changed my mind. Cannot be avoided by a more detailed and focused argument. It's basically when you're charged, when it's your court time, you got to be ready to go. So if you think of a better defense a couple years after you're sitting in prison after you pled guilty, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So the district court did not err in denying this claim. The appellant also contended that his guilty plea was involuntary. A guilty plea is presumptively valid. So we assume that you know what you're doing when you plead guilty, and a petitioner carries the burden of establishing that the plea was not entered knowingly and intelligently. Further, this court will not reverse a district court's determination concerning the validity of a plea absent a clear abuse of discretion. In determining the validity of a guilty plea, this court looks to the totality of the circumstances. They're going to look at the big picture. First, appellant claimed that his plea was involuntary because the district court failed to advise him of his right to appeal. Appellant failed to demonstrate that his plea was involuntary. You got to show us. How was this under duress? How was this not what you wanted? He's got to show that. Appellant was informed of his limited right to appeal in his plea agreement. The appellant acknowledged that he read and understood the plea agreement, including the section concerning the waiver of rights. We further note that the appellant pursued a direct appeal to challenge the judgment of conviction in the instant case. Therefore, the district court did not err in denying this claim. The second, appellant claimed that his plea was involuntary because the district court didn't tell him about all the elements of the crime, the factual basis for the crime, and the possible punishment he faced. He's trying to say that. The record belies appellant's assertions of fact. Appellant was personally told about the elements of the crime, the factual basis, and the potential maximum penalties. Moreover, this information was also contained in the plea agreement, which he acknowledged that he read and signed. Always read anything that you're given, especially if it involves you going away to the big house for a couple of years. Read every word. If you don't understand it, ask to have it explained to you. So that was found that the district court did not err in denying the claim. Third, the appellant claimed that his plea was involuntary because the district court failed to tell him about a meaning of an Alford plea. Oh. Appellant failed to demonstrate that his plea was involuntary. An Alford plea is a guilty plea in which a defendant maintains their innocence, but admits the prosecution's evidence would likely result in a guilty verdict if brought to that. So they didn't advise him of what an Alford plea was. He thinks that that's grounds for an appeal. In order to be knowing involuntary, a defendant entering a plea must have notice of the charge against him. I mean, you got to know what you're being charged with. You get that at minimum at the arraignment. Here's what you're being charged with. And he would have all of that in writing. Here's what you're being charged with. And he pled guilty. So the appellant was notified of the elements of the crime, the factual basis for the crime, the possible sentences, and the rights he was waiving by entering the guilty plea. Further, appellant admitted to engaging in the acts that formed the basis of the offense. He admitted to it. And fourth, appellant claimed that he was not competent to enter his plea. Oh, okay. So, that he didn't understand or he was under the influence of something. And they also ask that, have you taken any medications today while you're in jail and you were brought to court? Did you take anything? They want to make sure you're of clear, sound mind when you're entering a guilty plea. A defendant is competent to enter a plea if he has, number one, sufficient present ability to consult with his lawyer with a reasonable degree of rational understanding. Do you have the ability to ask your lawyer questions and reasonably understand? A rational as well as factual understanding of the proceedings against him. Do you understand what you're being charged with? Nothing in the record indicates that appellant was not competent to enter a guilty plea. He responded appropriately and coherently to the district court's questions. He acknowledged that he understood the rights he was waiving as those rights were set forth in the plea agreement. I mean, he has to sign that. It's all there. It is not apparent from the record that appellant was impaired or that he did not understand the district court's questions. Therefore, the district court did not err in denying this claim. He also states that he received ineffective assistance of counsel, that his lawyer was no good. To state a claim of ineffective assistance of counsel sufficient to invalidate a judgment of conviction, to say like, look, it was so bad that like this plea shouldn't have even happened. The case, you know, like there's no, I was on my own. This lawyer did nothing for me. In order to claim that, a petitioner must demonstrate that counsel's performance was deficient and that it fell below an objective standard of reasonableness and prejudice, such that counsel's errors were so severe that they rendered the result of the proceeding unreliable. And I mean, you know, I've watched court cases where the attorney shows up drunk, you know, they possibly still could be able to do their job. You know, you got to really prove this person did nothing for me. And also in order to prove that, a petitioner must demonstrate that he would have not pled guilty and would have insisted on going to trial if he knew that he could, essentially. The court need not address both components of the inquiry if the petitioner makes an insufficient showing on either one, which he hasn't shown. First, the appellant claimed that his counsel was ineffective for coercing him into pleading guilty. The appellant failed to demonstrate that he was prejudiced. He claimed that his counsel was ineffective for not investigating the appellant's claims that the victim lied to appellant about her age. That's why we went over the statute, that it doesn't matter. It does not matter if she lied. She could have been 17 and a half and said, I'm 18. It does not matter. It means nothing. And the victim had a criminal history of prostitution. This is a freaking low blow right here. This is a low blow, Mr. Simon. We're talking about a minor child. So because she had been previously trafficked, that goes towards your innocence? Okay. Yeah, they have a very warped way of thinking. Appellant failed to demonstrate that his counsel was deficient or that he was prejudiced. An attorney must make reasonable investigations or a reasonable decision that particular investigations are unnecessary. Like, we don't need to know that she lied because that, according to the law, it doesn't matter if she did. It doesn't matter what she did in her past. She is a minor, and you're being charged with pandering a minor. None of that matters. Yeah, and it states it right here. We just looked at this. Nevada Revised Statute 201.300 prohibits enticing or compelling an individual by threat or violence to engage in prostitution. The statute imposes a harsher penalty when an individual compels a child to engage in prostitution. She could be 17 years and 11 months old. She's a child. The statute does not require that the defendant know the victim's age in order to impose the penalty. As appellant's knowledge of the victim's age was irrelevant, appellant did not show that his counsel's decision not to investigate facts related to appellant's knowledge of the victim's age was unreasonable or prejudiced him. Because at the end of the day, gorl terminology, it doesn't matter. In addition, evidence that the victim engaged in prostitution in the past does not refute that the appellant compelled her to engage in prostitution in the instant case. We're talking, even if it was an adult. and you're compelling somebody by threat of force, violence, coercion to engage in this, her past or his past does not matter, has nothing to do with the charges that you're dealing with now. As the evidence that appellant asserted that his counsel should have investigated was not relevant or otherwise failed to refute the charge against him, he did not demonstrate that had his counsel investigated these facts, he would not have pleaded guilty and would have insisted upon going to trial. So he's trying to say that his lawyer was ineffective because he said, oh, she told me she was 18 and she's done this before. You need to look into that. Well, the lawyer, knowing the law, said, well, that's not a defense. None of that is a defense, even if it's true. There's nothing to investigate because those things could be true and still doesn't matter. Yeah. Also claimed that his counsel was ineffective for failing to obtain copies of the police department's lost notes and search reports. He failed to demonstrate that his counsel was defective or that he was prejudiced. Appellant did not allege any specific facts about the information that counsel could have discovered from the purported documents that would have altered his decision to enter a guilty plea. So, yeah, that could have happened. Police department, oh, they lost their paperwork. Maybe they did a search and that report can't be found. He's got to make a case that something contained within those copies of the police department's notes, their search reports, would have been grounds as a defense for himself. He has to prove that. He didn't prove that. Having reviewed the record on appeal and for the reasons set forth above, we conclude that appellant is not entitled to relief. So they're not getting a new trial, and that briefing and oral argument are unwarranted. So he's being denied the appeal to go in front of the judge and a new lawyer and to make an argument. He's not getting that because of all of the above. So they are upholding the decision of the district court. Order the judgment of the district court affirmed. They're upholding their decision. And this is 8th District of the Courts of Nevada.
Thank you, Monty, Yo Mama, Skinny Queen, and who else on here?
Her girl.
It's like 2 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah, 2 a.m. for me. So it's been a long night.
I have to put mattress in the kitchen right quick. Come on, Bettaloo. Come on.
Bettaloo? Is that the name of your dog or one of the children that your husband's pimping out?
Marty, either we're gonna do this the real way on here.
It's a fair question. You know what I mean? It's a fair question. I don't know why.
Come on, Bella.
It's an honest question. I see how you would think that was a joke, considering how horrendous.
You know, I'm dead ass serious.
Your husband.
Either we can do this on here and be cool and let me talk. Okay, is this what we're gonna do? We're gonna play games and then I'll just do it on my channel.
Like how that's a fair question, right?
Marty, I'm being serious. I'm giving everybody. They can ask questions. I'll explain the best that I can. All this happened way before we got together, okay?
Yeah.
The girl had an ID. Again, I'm not justifying that.
She had an ID.
She had an ID. The cops took the ID. He had no hold on, y'all. Let me plug up. There was an ID. There was no
an ID. Like, what does he want to buy? Like the board?
She had a fake ID, unfortunately.
And a fake ID for her pimp.
Did a fucked up situation happen where somebody should have said, you know, hey, let me see your ID? Absolutely. But if you would like to tune in and hear the story Sunday, great. If not, great too. Marty, he didn't.
So he only pimps out women over the age of 18, 21. And
Marty, I'm not trying to, it was a different time in his life. I'm not excusing it. No, I'm not. Absolutely. But
Can I ask what he does for a living now? Just out of curiosity.
Marty, are you serious? So y'all want him to work or you don't want him to work?
I'm wondering,
Marty,
why can't I not ask any questions?
Do you really think that I'm going to let anybody wreck? So are people supposed to reform? Or are they supposed to not reform?
Well, so I'm not asking.
Marty, come on
I'm just asking what industry he works in.
Come on. Come on, Marty.
So
come on.
Why is that not a fair question?
Really?
Industry.
Industry he works in? People want him to reform, but yet I'm going to tell where he works at.
Yeah, I'm not asking you where he works. I'm asking what industry he works in.
I'm not even comfortable.
Does he have a job? We just live off of you.
No. He has his whole own thing going, legitimate. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so what industry? There's no way that
Marty, I'm not even. We have built this ship from the ground up. I am not about to jeopardize. I helped take care of my grandmother.
We work in the same industry. You both work in the same industry. Maybe that's why what he did was normal to you.
No, I used to dance years ago, was very transparent.
Yeah.
I used to hustle, was always transparent. I never came on here and acted like I was a perfect little angel. I said, I've got a backstory. I've got a back history. I never was in the pimp game. I never was into any of that. I did my job in the club. When I left the club stayed at the club. Home was at home.
Okay. So I guess immaterial. What are you possibly going to say that would endorse your support of this man that you think is going to be accepted by anyone in this sphere?
I want to first off, no matter how anybody takes this, and please let me at least say this. I truly apologize to each and every one of you. If this has
we're not some children. We're some children who had our innocence stolen.
If anything gets said, I need this to be said.
Yeah, you don't listen. We didn't get pimped out as children, so you don't need to give us any apologies.
I'm giving an apology to those that cared for me, my channel, and that's really all that I'm here for. Those that cared about me or still do or have in the past. I never wanted to hurt anybody with this. That was never my intentions. Yes, I did act absolutely poorly, and he did as well. When you have somebody...
How did he keep this child in line?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Marty.
How did he keep this child in line?
There was no keeping her in line, Marty. Unfortunately...
So why did this child hand him over the money that she made from sleeping with men?
I want to be careful on here because this person has moved on.
If the crime is not going, you have no reason to keep everything.
No, but this is somebody else's story, and they've moved on with their life. They have children.
What's he doing right now?
And I understand that, but I'm going to leave.
What's he doing right now?
What's that?
What's he doing right now?
Do we want him to work or do we not? So if he's a lazy bum and doesn't reform his life and change, so he's a lazy. What do we want here?
Well, honestly, I just want honesty, truthfully.
And I'm being 100% transparent. That's why I came on here. I thought, let's do this.
Okay.
So
yeah. Do you think that anyone's going to welcome you back after
and that's
you
all right. But
I
want to apologize to those that got hurt in this. I never wanted to hurt anybody. I see a lot of people saying that their past was dredged up by that. I don't ever want to come on here to hurt anybody. I always wanted to come on here to lift people up. I really am a recovering addict. This is me. I'm me. I don't play a character on YouTube. I'm the same person, and it was never my intentions to anybody to get hurt in the crossfire.
Do you think that continuing to engage in this sector is going to be conducive to him or you improving your lives?
I think that both of us have tremendously improved our lives. He has helped me. I have helped him. People are going to believe what they want to believe, but I do feel like I owe those that cared or care about me. I never meant to hurt you guys, and that's from the bottom of my heart. If you hate me, I understand that. And I can take that.
Yeah. So, I understand like you come from like a different sector of the internet. I mean, I come from a different sector of the internet, and like our rules are not the same. If you're just trying to live an honest, hardworking life, and you don't want to be criticized or experience negativity, do you think that continuing to engage on the internet is something that's in your best interest?
I do understand, and I've always said this, tit for tat. If I criticize Foodie and other people are going to criticize me.
It's not beauty; it's about a child being pimped.
Can I ask a question real quick, Marty?
Sure.
The chat wants to know. Some of the people in the chat want to know.
I'm sorry, yo. I can't see the chat. I apologize. I'm not. What do we? Yeah, I'm on stream. I can't see the chat, yo. I apologize. Is there a way to turn the chat on?
I just wanted to ask. They want to know why you said the victim wasn't a victim initially.
Let me clear that up. Is okay. The reason why I said that was definitely in poor taste, and I was acting on emotions.
Wait, what do you mean?
I have to tread lightly because I don't. Somebody, this woman has moved on, has totally. So, how do I?
Well,
this woman, young adult. I apologize, young adult. The reason why I said that is she was trying to get away from her family. So that's kind of why I said that, because she was willing to be there. I didn't mean to. I acted in anger. I acted poorly, but that is where that comes from.
Are you considering maybe the possibility that you're acting poorly right now?
I'm just trying to be honest and answer the questions as honestly and real as possible. I'm not trying to bullshit anybody. I'm giving everything I got here.
Well, I mean, I'm going to give you the best advice I can give you is to log off the internet right now and to stay off the internet.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. All right.
I don't see why, Marty. I don't see why people deserve this. This is why some people, go back to different things. I'm not saying us, but people deserve second chances. And if people don't give me that, I understand that. But for the people that email me and talk about recovery and that I've helped, to say that I need to go,
you're coming online and saying that the child victim wasn't a victim.
I'm not saying that, Marty.
You did say that.
I'm not saying that.
But you did.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it was a whole ass ordeal that, yes, was it made in poor taste? Abso-fucking-lutely. Do I want to justify this? No, that was not my intentions. I acted like shit when I first came on. I acted in my emotions. Abso-fucking-lutely. And so did he.
Are you going to whine when people victimize you?
Marty, I've been victimized ever since this went down.
You think so? You think so?
Seriously? We're going to go there?
Well, I've given you... Look, final opportunity, log off, stay off.
Not happening.
Okay.
So what are we going to do here? Are you who's threatening to set my house on fire and kill my dogs? Is that what we're doing here?
Well, why do I constantly get accused of being a dog hitman?
These are the emails I'm receiving that my dogs are going to get shot. My house is going to get burned down. So do I need to take precaution?
I would sleep with one eye open. I'll tell you that.
I always sleep with one eye open, baby.
I would if I slept next to a pimp who smacked around kids for money.
Nobody smacked around anybody, Marty. Read the cases. They're out there. They're out there, Marty. Read that shit.
Shut the fuck up. That's bullshit. That's how it works.
Marty, nobody smacked around nobody.
And get slapped around. Shut the fuck up.
No, that's not the case. Sorry.
How did it work? Tell me how it worked then.
Sorry, that's not the case.
Tell me how it worked.
Let me tell you, Marty. I don't know.
How it worked. So how did he deprive this child of their money?
There was no depriving the child of the money.
So, okay.
The money was for her to stay there because where they were staying, nor the person knew that she was underage either.
So did he sleep?
Nobody was condoning. being underage.
Did he sleep with the underage kid?
No.
Bullshit.
She came in, she went and did her own thing.
Bullshit.
Marty, I'm a grown ass. I don't have to lie to you. What
So
he did in his
just
past.
a landlord. Bullshit. I don't fucking believe it.
Read it. It's all out there. Read it.
Well, so
why
okay.
Why would I come on here when the case is out there? It's public.
I'm just wondering how he deprived this child of her money, like just by paying rent.
There's no depriving, Marty. They did it. No, she was fucking.
Well, so
she had an ID.
You know what deprive
means? Poor taste. Abso-fucking-lutely. I'm not saying that, Marty.
So how did he separate this child from their money? Just paying rent? Like, I don't understand it. Maybe you can explain it.
She was staying there. When the cops brought her back there, they seen she had her own room and her clothes and all her belongings were there.
Okay, well then I don't think you like. So let's just say
in the state of Nevada, Marty, is that's the thing too. I see people saying, "Well, why can't he get off the name of the state of Nevada?" Is places to Nevada is it's known for having a bad rap, people coming out their party and doing their thing. So when they brought her back there and realized that she wasn't 18 plus, they seen she had a room, they seen her belongings were there.
So I mean, I know that like Nevada is like Sin City, right? Las Vegas, and there's a lot of pimps out there.
There are, unfortunately. Yes,
and
there are.
Like he was just a landlord for children. Bullshit.
He wasn't a landlord, Marty. They were all staying with someone. He wasn't the landlord.
Okay, yeah, he was her pimp. You just said he wasn't the landlord, so what was he? He was her pimp. Let's just call it what it is.
Marty, I'm not making an excuse, but like I said, she had an ID.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody knew that she was a minor. Nobody in the whole house, even the other people that were there, nobody knew she was a minor. Am I excusing that? Absolutely not. Should they all have been, if people wanted to participate that were older in that shit, absolutely they should have did more due diligence.
And what shit?
I'm not gonna say.
You just said participate in that shit. What do you mean by that shit? I'm curious.
There was other people that stayed in this household that were older that were doing their thing.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So he it sounds like a brothel, basically.
It wasn't a brothel. Everybody had their own room, did their own things, came and go as they went. It wasn't a brothel.
Okay. So he said that he had pimps before her and after her.
What he was meaning by that was, and like I said, that was a shitty ass comment to make. I will absolutely, totally say that.
Yeah.
But what he was meaning was she continued to live the lifestyle after all that had went down. Am I excusing that? No.
What he said was that I remember she had pimps before me and she had pimps after me. So where does he fit into that equation? He was a pimp during the time that she was with him, and there was pimps before and pimps after him. Like he pimped her. Like let's just call it what it is. Why can't you just be honest?
I'm being honest. She paid for it. That is how all the money came into play of how the files went down. When they came in, they seen her clothes were there and that she had her own room. That is how all the money came into play.
I mean, this is all like a pretty big insult.
Marty, I'm being real with you. You wanted the real, you wanted the truth. I'm giving you, I'm not going to study your bullshit.
I heard you say that like you used to hang out with pimps on the reg, right?
I used to live in a shady part of Atlanta. Absolutely.
Okay, but he wasn't a pimp.
I met him after our lives had completely changed. I had stopped hustling, stopped dancing. He had changed his life. I had changed mine.
Can I ask a question?
Did I live in a place that the area was filled with pimps? Absolutely.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Skinny. I'm sorry.
When he was on Edwet's panel, she asked if he was remorseful, and he said he was not. for doing his action.
He's not on here like we are. Can you imagine somebody that you love? Thousands of people are coming at them sideways. I never wanted to hurt people with this. So both of us abso-fucking-lutely acted like a shit. Both of us. I regret that stream. He regrets that stream. He's not on here. This isn't his realm. He has a regular job and does his thing. Skinny, you know what it's like the first time coming on a stream or making a video?
You know what? Well, yeah, so I know what that's like. You know what I don't know or can relate to is pimping out children for money. Like, that's something that I can't relate to. And if it's not something I can even consider. But let's
Marty,
just say
he did not know she was a minor. I'm not trying to justify that, but I'm telling you the honest truth.
Okay, so let's just say like his house full of these girls.
There was couples, there was people. It wasn't just a fucking pimp house and a bunch of chicks.
I don't believe that there was couples there.
Okay.
So he was just a landlord. He was basically like a landlord. Like, maybe I don't think that he would be convicted of pimping or pandering if he just didn't look at a tenant's ID. I don't think that it would work like that.
Go to Nevada, get in the situation, and see what happens.
So let's just say that a tenant gives you a fake ID. Okay, you're saying that this is all that occurred.
If they get caught on the strip, on the boulevard, and they come back to your spot and that person has a room there, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but that's what happened in this situation.
Does the paperwork reflect that?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so let's just say that I was an honest landlord and a tenant gave me an ID that was fictitious. I wouldn't come on and say that, look, this girl had pimps before me. She had pimps after me. In fact, a pimp came to testify against me.
That is what she did, though, Marty. I'm not trying to make shit up or lie to you guys. That was just unfortunately, the field that she chose at that time. I'm not trying to bullshit you. I'm being real with you guys. I'm not trying to bullshit you guys. I mean, is it fucked up? Absolutely. If I could take the whole situation back and change time and soak it, abso-fucking-lutely.
I mean,
Sarah Jane, I'm being honest and I'm being real. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to bullshit you guys. That's not me. So ask away. I'll answer for the next couple minutes. I don't know what you guys want me to say. Is it a fucked up situation? Absolutely. I did not want to hurt any of you guys in this. That was never my intentions for something that happened in the past with somebody I'm with to let down you guys or to hurt you guys.
I have a lady. I warned you.
Warn me about what, Marty? The people don't deserve second fucking chances. You don't.
You've had a second chance. You've had a second chance. You've had a second chance. You've been out. You were in the lifestyle. You got a second chance. You messed up again because you.
Talking about Bridget? I don't know. Dump Bridget off. Bridget, I don't know you nothing. You ain't.
Yeah, you don't. You said that you were going to answer questions. You said you. So you don't want to answer questions. But I'm a viewer. I'm a viewer. So you said that you were going to answer questions. I'm a viewer.
Been around my damn chat ever. I ain't seen you
in your chat. I have been in your chat.
Goddamn book.
Even been in your chat. So you don't know the people that are in your chat.
Monty, Bridget, or I'm getting off here. Bridget,
you're not answering any questions anyway.
Let's calm down.
Bridget was never in my channel. I'm here. I'll talk to Skinny. I had interactions with Skinny.
I'm sorry, Miami. But I came on here because you said you were going to answer questions.
I'm answering questions. Have I not?
I don't have your email.
My email is in the description of every one of my regular videos. But
we're here right now. But we're here right now. So can I ask a question? Can I ask questions or no?
Bridget, I've never really had. If there's anybody that
yes or no, just yes or no,
my channel that would like to jump on here, I'm gay.
Just yes or no. I have been in your. I've been in your chat before. It was a while ago, so maybe you don't remember.
My community tab would.
So no.
Number 2, number 3.
So no, I can't ask a question. So I can't ask a question. No.
Basically, just said that I don't deserve a second chance in my life. What the fuck have I done other than become an addict?
We're past that. Can I ask questions or no? No. Okay, so I'm okay. We're gonna start over. Can I ask questions or no?
If you can ask politely and you can ask respectfully, I'm down.
Okay. So my first actually, Miami, would you like to ask first since you came on first?
I would like to ask a question. Is my sound all right?
You're good. I can hear you right now.
Thank you. Hi, Kaya. And hey, Bridge, who just joined. I know I said I was getting off, but I had to jump back on because I'm fascinated by this. And I know a lot of people are judging you for what
I got a question, Kaya.
It's raining bad. Can you guys hear me? Do you want me to shut the window?
Yeah, we can hear you clear. I got a question for you, Kaya.
Go ahead,
for Terrence, the last video he said that he was sorry for what had happened. What steps has he taken to like give back to society, give back to the community? Because like I've said before, I have volunteered with lots of people that have done like some really bad stuff in their past, and they always will get that remorse and try to give back somehow to the community. So what has he done?
Absolutely.
I don't want to. I've got to be careful because he has changed his life.
But has he done something to give back to the community?
But I also have to be careful that I don't want to wreck what we've built from the ground up. So he does a lot of stuff. But our life still has to move on. You know, believe it or not. YouTube does not pay my bills, and I wasn't being mean when I said that. I wasn't trying to string you guys along like Sunday. It was just the time of frame that we had available between things he has going on in his life. So it wasn't to like build up anticipation. It was just when the schedule was clear. And, you know, I got to be careful because I know, you know, just like, you know, some people are, you know, this is why it's hard to kind of explain and try to explain things, but I also have to, this is my real life and this is his real life, and YouTube does not pay my bills, believe it or not. I know people think that, but you know, when I said, you know, by our life still having to go on job wise, like I wasn't meaning like, oh, he's still in the game or any of that. I was meaning like work wise. I pay my own bills. I do my own thing. Of course, we help each other if, you know, one person has, you know, more money coming in that month, vice versa. But that's what you do in a relationship, you know. So I wasn't trying to be like, you know, fuck you guys, you know, Sunday. Wait to, you know, it was just unfortunately the time frame that we had.
I got another question after you're done.
Did she answer the question of what he actually has done to help the community?
He does I have to be careful, Bridget. I'm honestly not trying to dodge the question.
Like past things, because you met him like what, maybe 15, 20 years ago, whenever it was. Like, what are some past things that he's done to help the community?
Yes.
We help out at different churches. I don't want to wreck. I don't want to sound like I'm tiptoeing around this, but I also know that I don't want to wreck anybody's shit along the way, meaning things we may help, things we may do, charitable things, events, helping feed the homeless, things like that. I don't want to involve anybody else.
At this time right now, obviously YouTube is not fun for you. You said you're not going anywhere. People are still going to be on your ass.
I understand that. I understand that. And I don't know. I feel like I mean, obviously I fucked up. Like I acted in fucking a complete asshole. I said some things that I know some people would never, ever fuck with me ever again. And I guess that's the bet. And now I've got to lay in it. But I do tremendously apologize to each and every one of you. And if you never fuck with me ever again, I understand that, but I really never, ever wanted to hurt any of you. Please just know that. That was never, if you don't ever see me ever again, know that that was never my intentions to hurt you guys. please just know that if you don't see me ever again, take that. I don't want to hurt you guys. I never wanted. I acted absolutely like a complete fucking jackass. So did he, and I would take that. I fucked up big time. I would take that.
Speaking on that, Kaya, when Marty told you to log off, why didn't you just log off? You were heated, weren't you?
I am heated, and I'm still heated.
But
and
the
Marty
thing is
doesn't
that
understand, this may be all a game, but this isn't a fucking game to me. I built a bond, and like I said, if y'all don't ever see me ever again, I let you guys down, and that was never my fucking intentions. So this can be a game. Marty has no feelings in this. Marty has no horse in this race. But I never meant to hurt any of you guys. This is all fun and games for Marty. Marty doesn't understand the nights of us setting up, drinking coffee, the built that I bond with you creators, the built that I bond with you viewers, and that's why I said that. This isn't a fucking game to me. I hurt you guys, and I never meant to do that.
I get that, Kaya, but then Marty will just go ahead and do what he always does.
You know what? Then I'll set it this motherfucker like I am now, night and day, like I have been for the fucking last 3 weeks. I'll set in this bitch night and day like I have been already.
Why put yourself through this, though? I mean,
people been coming at me for the last 3 weeks. I mean, what the fuck is any different? But I'm not the type of motherfucker. See, I'm me, and I've been on this bitch the same motherfucker that I am now. But how would you feel if somebody came on and said, yo, Skinny, you log off. Yo, Miami. Yo, Bridget. Yo, Monty. That don't even fucking know you. I am... Let's face it here. With or without T, I mean, let's not get it twisted here. I mean, as long as my grandma's all right, my dogs, I'm good. If I get set up in this bitch night and day like I have been, ain't nobody gonna hurt me or my family. Make that motherfucker straight up.
My whole thing is it may not be okay. I don't know this Marty dude. I don't know what he does. Yeah.
What are we gonna do? Let's. I mean, what?
Okay,
is somebody gonna come here and kill me because then they got their blood, the blood on the hands?
Let's move past that because I don't know this Marty dude. I don't know what he does. Whatever. But at the same.
See that they nobody's gonna. I'm gonna defend myself regardless. Even before T came along, ask Miami about food. Man. Kaya been living this life way before T came along.
See it from me.
This is the lifestyle these women chose to live.
Hold on, just let me.
Children.
That they were 17, 18. They was living this life before.
And he was 30. These were children that came from fucking horrible backgrounds. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been there. Fuck off.
See, that's what I'm saying. The internet, they make their own assumptions. This
children.
She's still a child today?
No, I'm a grown-ass adult, and I am.
No, I'm talking about her. Is she still a child today?
Who?
The lady
Your multiple victims?
Yeah, are they child today?
No, because this was back in 2005, so they're grown.
Okay, so
God only knows what mental torture and fucking fucked up lives they've come from. And are still enduring. God only knows. I fucking hope to God they've recovered. But you earn money. It's all about the fucking dollar is all I need.
She recovered. She came to court with another pimp. So yeah, she recovered quite well.
So she was passed around from pimp to pimp to pimp to pimp. I reckon she's great. She chose that life as an underage person. Okay, fucking good on.
No one passes no one around. It's an option. That's just like when you go out.
I get fuck off, you mad cunt. Were they? What in your fucked up head do you think her options were?
Well, prior to me, what was her options then?
No, I'm asking after. You said she had loads of options. She came to court with another pimp. So in between you and the other pimp and going to court, what was her fucking option? What do you reckon that was?
I don't know. You have to ask her. She wanted to be a hoe, so she hoed. I don't know what else you want to say.
You were an adult. How did they choose? Here you go. Right, okay, I'm losing my chat here. How did they choose to make that life, though, Kyle?
How did they choose to make that life?
Hang on.
That is the part have been refused. Okay, they might have chose to live that life by being abused at home. They might have chose
well, that's not a fucking choice then, is it, you mad fuck?
Okay, then let me word it different. They might have been thrown into that life, or fuck, they might have just chose to live that life.
No one chooses to be passed around to get STIs and shit like that. Okay, so you as an SA victim. But now when I go to the ladies' shelter, I'm going to mute you. When I go to the ladies' shelter, the fucking horror. The horror of SA, CSA,
I understand.
CSA, it sends them into that spiral, and then there's men like your man who are there.
There was nobody else there. Let's clear that shit up.
If
there was nobody
essayed.
There was nobody essayed.
It's an underage person, so of course they were essayed.
Because they was doing their thing willingly with other people doesn't mean he had engagements with them sexually.
I never had sex with
Thank you.
But he, probably because he knew they had the clap. He was just earning the money off of them. Is this fucking moral high ground here?
Nobody said it was moral high ground. It's just, it's a lifestyle that some choose to.
It's not a fucking lifestyle when it comes to children underage. No, it isn't. Fuck off.
For every lady you find in the shelter, I can probably hit the streets and show you a lady that's going to combat against what you think that's going on.
There's ladies and then there's children. Children, underage people, children
are looking for help or looking to get out of a situation. There's for everyone that you find that's in there that's looking for help, there's someone else out there that's just free willing.
And there's a fucking pimp like you to earn some money off of them. Well done, you. Get lost. Yeah, no, fuck. I'm done with that. Winding me up too much.
I have built a very strong bond with you guys. And I know some of you guys are going to understand this. And I know some people aren't going to understand this. I've always told you guys that I used to lead a different lifestyle. My family used to lead a different lifestyle as well as me. And I want to put this out here, okay? If you no longer, I'm going to put this up here at top, and I will take care of it tonight. If you have to back from supporting me, I completely understand. If you want to be unmodded, I do completely understand. I will not look at you any different. I do not want any of the things that are going on with me to affect any of you guys. Well, when I got off the live last night, it was brought to my attention. I want to tell you that this is not my story to tell you, okay? I had to figure out how to address this. There is a video that the person that I'm with is a sex offender. It is not what it is. It is a story from the past. It is not my story to tell. He has offered to come on here this weekend and tell his story. It is worded terribly. It is worded that it is of a child. It was not of a child. It's worded very, very poorly. I asked him, I said, I really, when I say that I really have suffered from childhood SA, the last thing, you guys know how hard I ride for that and how hard I stand for that would be if I thought this person was a threat to those around me. He's very well, no, I'm not. I've been with this person for 12 years. And that's what I told him, Yarn. But I think that he knows that I've created a bond with you guys, and he doesn't want, they're after me. They want me, but they know that I've never really gotten any trouble. So they're using him I'm dragging it out, not at all, because this is very hard there's a whole video. I've been doxxed. It's out there. It's all over Twitter. No, it's a channel that covered me and Callie before. And from what I gathered, I did not knock off your channel, person. I did not knock off your channel. I did not send any of my people to knock over your channel. And that's fine. If anybody wants to leave, they're more than welcome to leave. If you don't support me, I understand. But I have been with this person for 12 years. There was no victim. There was no victim. I'm going to let him tell the story Sunday. It wasn't a victim. I know you guys need the story. And I'm going to give you, he's going to give it to you. It's not my story to tell. If that's the way you look at it, pizza my pizza, that's fine. I wanted to come on here, and I didn't want you guys to be sidelined, because it's everywhere. It's not my story to tell. So I don't want to come on here and explain somebody's story and give you guys, and then people say, well, oh, she said this, and then he said that. So, yes, absolutely, absolutely, Kimmy. And that's why he said, I'll tell the story. It's my story to tell. It's my story. You shouldn't get caught in the crossfire of my past. No, I know that, guys. If you want to be unmodded, listen. It wasn't, I'm going to say this to put you at rest. There was a conviction, absolutely. The dox is everywhere. But it wasn't, it was a person that the age was not known. I'm trying not to tell somebody's story. But it wasn't what it looks like. Well, you know what, pizza my pizza, this person would give the shirt off their back. And it's not how it looks. So if people, this is why I came on here first and figured out, okay, let me deal with this, because I am involved because I am being doxxed. There's videos, there's doxes everywhere. They're going to people's comment sections. They're coming after people that are attached to me. That's why I'm doing this. I don't know who it is, catch me if you can. And I really don't. Listen, please I'm not telling you anything, but would it make sense for me, being a little child that was essayed by my family, would I stand for somebody that did they make a bad decision by hanging out with somebody? Absolutely. But if you unsubscribe, I understand. If you don't support me, I also understand. But I wanted to talk to you because I see it. It's starting to, I see that people are just starting to just run with it. People have been called to my house. Things have been tore up. It's to the point where I'm like, okay, let's do this. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not talking about anybody else. I am not talking about it. I'm talking about me. I will stand up for me and my household. And that's why I said it. I don't have members. But if people need to unsubscribe or want unmodded, I would deal with this Sunday. He would tell you the story. If you want to stay, I would appreciate it. I hope that you see the person that I am. I hope that somebody realizes that why would I stand for, as a child, a young child of SA, that is one thing that I don't stand for. So hopefully some people are going to understand the situation, some people aren't, and some people just don't like me, period. So, I apologize. If you always notice, I would twerk around and say, I have a story. He is going to tell his side of the story. I can't go by if somebody is I have to still make sure my household is, YouTube doesn't pay my bills. And if people don't understand the type of person that I am, then I understand that, guys. I listen, I have to support my household still. Here's the deal. It's Sunday or no day because YouTube doesn't pay my bills. So my household still has to go on. If that is the time that they have, at least they're coming on here. I said, you don't know anybody an explanation. Thank you, AC. If people, you know, some people are going to run with this. This is going to be a story. This is going to be a hotline. This is going to be a, you know, this is going to be a hot storyline. But now is the time. Piece of my pizza, that's fine. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to bullshit you guys. I'm not going to come in here and say, oh, that's not, no. I would rather be upfront and honest with you guys. I would rather be, and people can ask questions. That's what, no, people can ask questions. There's nothing to hide. There's no excuses. There's none. Well, then it is my downfall. This is my real life. This is my life. This is my real life. This is, ooh, thank you, AC. This is my real life. Oops, sorry, y'all. This is my real life. My real life, yes, you guys mean the world to me as much. But I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. I'm not going to sit here and run with my tail between my legs and say, you guys, you know what? He would give me the world piece of my pizza. That's why I stand beside him. He picked me up from the ground when I was broken. And I led a fucked up life too. We've got our lives together. We've both changed. I was out there thugging doing shit too. This man picked me up from the ground, wasn't a drug addict, never did drugs, stood beside me when I didn't even fucking stand beside myself. And I hope to think that if you don't understand the character that I am, then it ain't meant to be anyways. It ain't meant to be anyways then. This is my real life. No, we've discussed this. He said, it's my story. I don't want you to catch the static. You know what? It is what, I don't give a fuck if it's cute. This is my real life. I'm not no fucking show. I don't come on here to make people, this is my real life. I'm not on here to bullshit you. I'm not here to sugarcoat. I'm not going to lie and duck between my tail and my legs, say, oh no, guys, I don't know what they're talking about. That would be a pussy ass move. That would be a pussy ass move. And I'm not going to, I owe it to you guys. I owe it to you guys. I don't want any, if anybody needs to remove themselves, I understand it. I totally get it. I don't want anybody to get in the crossfire of my life. You know what, piece of my pizza? I don't know what to tell you. If you tune in Sunday, great. If not, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I'm not going to sit here and bicker. This is my life. I think the people that I've built a bond with understand me, and if they don't, I never ever want to blindside you guys. I always trickled in and said, there's something I really want to tell you. Did a fucked up situation happen where somebody should have said, you know, hey, let me see your ID? Absolutely. But if you would like to tune in and hear the story Sunday, great. If not, great too. There's nothing sketchy to it. There's nothing sketchy about it. If it was fucking sketchy, why would I come on here? If I was sketchy, I'd run with my tail between my legs, duck my account and say deuces. There's nothing sketchy about it. It's been 12 years, almost 12 years. 12 years. 12 years.